Hi, what's up guys? My topic is culture communication and intercultural relationship. I will be interviewing someone from my own culture who has lived for an extended period of time in a foreign country. Nurul Zulkifli. She has been to Jeddah for about 4 years. For all of you wondering where Jeddah is the second largest city in Saudi Arabia. Before I start the interview, I would like to inform my viewers about the challenges in intercultural relationship, the U-curve model, the W-curve model, and the transition model. According to Martin and Nakayama, there are a few challenges in intercultural relationship. First one is differences in communication, values, and perception. Differences can be a barrier during intercultural communication. Another challenge would be negative stereotypes. Stereotypes are a way of categorizing and processing information. Many of us miss out on interacting with someone different because of negative stereotypes. Anxiety is also a challenge. It stems from the fear that we might offend someone. The last one for me is people tend to have the need to explain.
According to Samovar and Porter, the U-curve model talks about phases of culture shock. There are 4 stages of the U-curve model. The first one is exhilaration stage, which is usually filled with excitement. The second stage is disenchantment stage, is when you start to encounter difficulties. The third stage is adjustment stage. It is when you begin to cope. Fourth stage is effective functioning stage. It is when you finally feel comfortable.
However, the W-curve model happens when returning back to the original culture, where a person needs to adapt again. It is difficult because it is unexpected. Usually a person has changed because of adaptation and is no longer the same person as they were before. Now I'd like to welcome Nurul Farhana to talk about her experience forming intercultural relationships. So, Farhana,
how did you feel about meeting members of the other culture for the first time?
I was rather nervous, as would anyone be in my position, to be completely immersed in a different society with a different intercultural group. I would have to say that as a society overall, they weren't very welcoming in the beginning. It was rather difficult to make friends.
What information best prepared you to interact with them, and where did you get it?
Media portrayal of the Arab culture played the biggest role in preparing me to adapt to the environment. Women were stereotyped to be the passive members of the group. However, from what I have directly experienced, the women were outspoken and often violent.
as you have heard, my friend stereotyped the people of Jeddah before she went there. Thus, it gave her an idea of how these people might be. The stereotypes were given to her by the media. According to Martin and Nakayama, this causes difficulty in interacting.
Did you encounter any surprises when you began interacting with members of the culture?
Yeah, one of the major surprises was the way they talk and the usage of their intonation. They spoke loudly with excessive body languages. At first I felt disturbed and anxious, but later on I found out that they weren't mad at me, but it was one of their norms to raise their voices while conversing. Another example is the fact that there seems to be a lack of courtesy in this culture. They don't know how to queue up. Whenever I had to buy food at the canteen in school, it was literally a display of survival of the fittest.
How would you describe the experience of forming relationships with the members of this culture? Was your experience different or similar to forming relationships with members of your own culture?
At first, I was cautious. I began observing the cultural norms and how the members behaved. Only after I've gotten the gist of it would I begin to interact and form intercultural relationships with them. And I would have to say that forming relationships with these people is almost the same as forming relationships with someone from my own culture, despite the differences in traditions, language, and of course culture. When forming relationships within my own culture, I'd still use the same approach of observing first and then interact later.
My friend's reaction towards her own culture now shows that she has been affected by the W-curve model. My friend also uses the flight instead of fight approach in communicating with the people. So that's all from my video today, guys. Thank you for watching. Please give some comments if you think that I can improve in any way. Thank you very much.